Having technical difficulties. Hold on just a minute. Okay, what is going on? Let me check something here. So if you can see me, this is James Pierce with the JP8 report. Let's see here. Come on, there we go. Well, I am live for that is good. Rumble Studio is not cooperating with me right now, which I will go the old-fashioned route at this moment. And okay, so welcome to the JP8 report. This is James Pierce, the JP8 report, coming to you from my new studio. Well, I expected glitches, and I got a small glitch. And that's, I guess it'll work out for right now, but I got to figure this one out. And please don't see that little hole in the ground, in the wall. That was from a door. There's no door stop, so I know what I got to do after the podcast. Okay. Hopefully y'all like. This is brand new. The only things I don't have set up right now is my Stream Deck. So I got to do everything with the mouse. So I'm not going to really show any pictures today, except for the people I sponsor. All right, and then and any ad reads, I'll just physically read them. All right, but welcome to the JPA report. If you have any comments or suggestions about my sound, if it echoes too much, if things reflect, just let me know, please. I see Rob telling me to see you fix it. I don't know what he means by fix it. He'll probably tell me later on. But I think I have a slight echo in here. I need to work on that. And he said fix it, the hole. Okay, got it. That's easy because I did that for a living. All right, and then click the follow button if you're not already a follower of the JP8 report, and then click like with the thumbs up. Please do so, and then share it out. I would really appreciate that. And like I said, I'll make improvements on the studio as I come. But it was good. Like Rob, my buddy here, that we're actually going to go see a movie together tonight. They got this mystery movie that they show at our theater, which they don't tell you the title of the movie. They just tell you there's a movie, and they charge like $5 plus taxes and stuff like that. But so me, my wife, and him and his wife, we're all going to go and watch this mystery movie. Hopefully it's Greenland too, but you never know. That would be awesome. So before we get to the America 250, the stock market is up over 750 points right now. Just so you know, like 49,153 was the last thing I saw on the stock market before I came in here. All right, so America 250 for January 3rd, because I didn't do Saturday, January 3rd. The Second Continental Congress was actually pursuing reconciliation with England, okay, because they wanted a peaceful outcome to everything was going on. At this moment in time, they weren't actually going toward independence. There was a large portion of people that wanted independence, but there was a large portion of people that wanted to reconcile and live peacefully with our English-speaking brothers, funny English-speaking brothers across the pond, okay? And then on January 4th of 1776, exactly 6 months, or February, March, April, May, June, July, 6 months away from independence. I have two things here. Let's see, before I read the letter, British soldiers found General Montgomery's body in Quebec and gave him full military honors when they found him and recovered his remains. Remember, the other day on December 31st, they assaulted Quebec City and he was killed by artillery fire. But they actually honored him as a soldier and as an officer, because, you know, all officers were considered gentlemen back then. So the next thing was a letter I have from General Washington to John Hancock. Sir, since my last on the 31st, I have been honored with your favor of the 22nd in closing Sunday resolves, which shall, in matters with respect, be made the rule of my conduct. The resolution relative to the troops in Boston, I beg your favor of you, sir, to assure Congress shall be attempted to put in execution the first moment I see a probability of success, and in such a way as a councilor of officers shall think that most likely to produce it. But if this should not happen as soon as you may expect, or my wishes prompt to, I request that Congress will be pleased to advert to my situation and do me the justice to believe that circumstances and not a want of inclination are the cause of delay. It is not in the pages of history, perhaps, to furnish a case like ours, to maintain a post within musket shot of the enemy for 6 months together without, and at a same time to disband one army and recruit another within that distance of 20-odd British regiments. That's a lot of soldiers. In more probability than ever attempted. But if we succeed as well in the last as we have therefore in the first, I shall think in the most fortunate event of my whole life. By a very intelligent gentleman, Mr. Hutchinson from Boston, I learned that it was Admiral Schulem who came into the harbor last Saturday, that 2 of the 5 regiments from Cork, Cork is in Ireland if you didn't know, arrived at Halifax. 2 others had sailed for Quebec, but but what has become of them could not be told. The other, the 55th, just arrived in Boston. Certain it is also that the greatest part of the 17th Regiment is arrived there. Whether, I guess he does not know that that they failed at Quebec City, but I'm sure any day now it'll get back to them. Whether we could conclude from hence rather than 5 regiments have been sent out, or that the companies of the 17th arrived at Boston, or part of the regiments destined for Halifax and Quebec, I know not. We are also learned from this gentleman and others that the troops embarked for Halifax are mentioned in my letter of the 16th. Were really designed for that place, but recalled from Nantasket Road upon advice being received upon the arrival of the regiments there. I am also informed of a fleet now getting ready under the convoy of the Scarborough and Fowey men of war, consisting of 5 transports, 2 bomb vessels, and about 300 Marines, and several flat-bottomed boats, and it is whispered that they are destined for Newport, but generally thought in Boston, that it is meant for Long Island, and it is probable that it be followed by more troops as other transports are taking in water to lie, as others say in Nantasket Road, to be out of the ice, and a large quantity of biscuit is also baking. As the real design cannot be certainly be known, I submit that it be due reference to the superior judgment of Congress whether it would not be consistent with prudence to have some of the Jersey troops thrown into New York to prevent an evil which may be honest, irredeemable, should it happen. I meant the landing of the troops at that place, or upon Long Island near it. It is possible that your may not yet have received His Majesty's most gracious speech. I do myself the honor to enclose one of many which were sent out of Boston yesterday. It is full of rancor and resentment, and explicitly holds forth his royal will to be the vigorous measures must be pursued to deprive us of our constitutional rights and liberties. These measures, whatever they be, I hope, will be most opposed by more vigorous ones, and rendered unavailing and fruitless, though sanctified and authorized by the name of Majesty, a name which ought to promote the blessings of his people and not oppression. I am, sir, with the greatest respect and regard, your most obedient and most humble servant, George Washington. Okay? So, that was a pretty good intelligence letter. I'm sure there'll be more to come. Hope y'all like my book of Dame Bongino back here. All right. Man, I wish that stream was working better. All right. I can't even tell how many people are actually watching right now. All right. And then on the 5th of January, which is today, wait a minute. Okay, and then on the 4th of January also, there was the booklet, the pamphlet that I'm going to start reading this afternoon during the premium, is Common Sense by Thomas Page, which was anonymously published on the 10th of January, which is 5 days from now. It began circulating in Philadelphia. And then on the 5th of January, which is today itself, New Hampshire is the first colony to adopt its own constitution. And then I have a letter here. It's only a paragraph, okay? And it's from Colonel Henry Knox to George Washington. All right? And then, Sir, I did myself the honor to address your excellency from Fort George on the 17th. I then was in hopes that we should have been able to have the cannon at Cambridge by this time. The want the snow detained us some days, and now a cruel thaw hinders from crossing Hudson's River, which we are obliged to do 4 times from Lake George to this town. The first severe night will make the ice on the river sufficient strong till the happens of the cannons and mortars must remain where they are, most of them at different crossing places, and some few are here. The inevitable delays pain me exceedingly, as my mind is fully sensible of the importance of the greatest expedition in this case. In 8 or 9 days after the first severe frost, they will... Thanks a lot, Rob. Yes, that's your book. I found it. in 8 or 9 days after the first severe frost, they will be at Springfield, from which place we can get them easily transported there, although there should be no more snow. But to the roads are so excessively bad, snow will be necessary. We got over 4 more double fortified 12-pounders after the last of your excellency. I send a duplicate of the list for fear of miscarriage of the other list. General Schuler has been exceedingly audacious in this matter, as to myself my utmost endeavors have been and still shall be used to forward them with the utmost dispatch. I have the honor to be with the greatest respect, Your Excellency's most obliged, humble servant, Henry Knox. All right. So and people know through history, they have had problems from from Fort Ticonderoga to Boston with the weather, and now because it froze, it got a lot of snow, and then it thawed. And when ground thaws, it becomes muddy, and you got these cannons, and they can't get them across the river, and it's just one thing after another. All right, and then talking about so that's America 250 for January 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So we got Continental Congress trying to pursue peace, and General Washington to John Hancock about intel that's going around Boston area, and then you have British soldiers giving honors to General Montgomery for his death in battle, and then New Hampshire adopted its first constitution, and then Colonel Knox having transportation delays for cannons that are desperately needed in Boston. So that was 3rd, 4th, and 5th of January, 1776, 6 months from the Declaration of Independence. All right, so this is my buddies from the Dalmatian Burger Group, Texas Burgers. They have fresh, homemade smash burgers and dogs right here in Copper's Cove. All their ingredients are homemade, including the buns. They are open from Tuesday through Saturday, 11 to 2, and then 5:30 to 7, unless they sell out. And they're located on the west side behind Bush's Chicken. All right. And you can't go today because they're closed. You got to wait till tomorrow. All righty, guys. All right. So, before we get into what happened in Venezuela, I wanted to talk about this one thing. Senator Mark Kelly was just informed that the Secretary of War has recommended that he is reduced in his retirement rank and retirement pay due to the seditious video that he helped make a few months ago. So Secretary of War Pete Hegseth said Senator Mark Kelly, Democrat Arizona, will receive a formal censure letter, and that he was directed by the Secretary of Navy, John Phelan, to review the Navy captain's retirement rank and pay and provide a recommendation in 45 days, sharply escalating the investigation alleging that he made seditious statements that undermined the military operations. 6 weeks ago, Senator Mark Kelly and 5 other members of Congress released a reckless and seditious video that was clearly intended to undermine good order and military discipline. Hegseth said in a statement to Fox News Digital, as a retired Navy captain who is still receiving a military pension, Captain Kelly knows he is still accountable to military justice and the Department of War, and the American people expect justice. The review could result in a downgrade of Kelly's rank at which he officially retired. As a result, his retirement pay, which is tied to the rank, may be reduced. A censure letter will also be issued outlining the totality of Captain Kelly's reckless misconduct, Hexas said. Such a letter typically calls out for wrongdoing and can be used to justify reductions in rank, pay, or benefits. It also serves as an official warning to future misconduct could result in harsher consequences. There's a little bit more on it. This is serious stuff, people. I'm retired NCO. I understand. He should have understood. The censure is a necessary process step and will be placed in Captain Kelly's official and permanent military personnel file. The department added that Kelly's status as a sitting U.S. Senator does not exempt him from accountability, and further violations could result in further action. Kelly was notified on the basis of the action and has 30 days to submit a response according to Hexas. The department added that such actions against Kelly are based on public statements from June through December 2025 in which he characterized lawful military operations as illegal and encouraged members of the armed forces to refuse lawful orders. This comes after a group of Democrat lawmakers with military and intelligence backgrounds, Kelly, Senator Elisa Slotkin of Michigan, Representatives Chris DeLuzio and Chrissy Houlihan of Pennsylvania, Maggie Goodlander of New Hampshire, and Jason Crow of Colorado released a video directed at service members and intelligence officers stating, "Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders." And all the lawmakers in a video highlighted their former service in the military and intelligence community. Members in the video had worked to limit Trump's ability to deploy National Guard members domestically or launch military action against suspected narco-terrorists without congressional approval. However, none of the context appears in the video titled "Don't Give Up the Ship." Instead, the video framed the appeal as a warning to military members to stand up for our laws and refuse unlawful orders. And this is from FoxNews.com. So I got to keep eye on the chat and stuff. Okay, so what some people don't understand or know that if you're not in the military, when you retire, you're retired on active duty. Okay, you're in retirement rolls, you get retired pay, but as a retiree, you're subject to recall. All right, you can be recalled. I believe NCOs can be recalled up to 10 years, but officers are always available for recall, right? Which means you can't just disrespect or be seditious to the military and to the country, right? Some people think, "Oh, I'm retired. I'll grow a long ponytail and a long beard, and I'm done with it." It doesn't work like that, all right? And then Senator Mark Kelly, he was a Navy captain. So if you don't know your rank structure, you have second lieutenant, like in the Army, you have second lieutenant, first lieutenant, captain, major, lieutenant colonel, and then colonel. Okay, in that same grasp, in the Navy, you have ensign, lieutenant, junior grade, then you have lieutenant, then you have lieutenant commander, then you have commander, which is the same as lieutenant colonel, and then a captain in the Army is called a colonel. So that's an '06. So what it looks like they're doing, they're going to reduce them from an '06 to an '05, from a captain to a commander, which will affect about, I was thinking is about $1,000 to $1,500 a month of his retirement pay he will lose with this reduction in rank. Okay? It's serious. It should serve as a learning point for other veterans that think they can just thumb their nose at the federal government, regardless of which political party is in power at the time, that you just can't do it, right? When you take your oath, it's your oath, all right? All right? So he messed around and you found out. So maybe he'll grow some hair. I don't know. I don't know if he's naturally bald like that. All right. So where are we standing right now? We're at 26 minutes. Okay, we're doing good. Let me get a drink. Man, wonder what happened to my to this, man. Okay. So next. So what we have is starting, I think it was Friday night. Either Thursday night or Friday night. U.S. forces, at the direction of the president, went in and took Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores into custody, pending. I gotta stretch my leg out. Pending legal proceedings in New York City, because he's been under indictment since 2020, and so a little bit over 5 years for weapons, machine gun weapons allegations, drug running allegations. So it's enough to put him in jail till he's dead, right? You can compare it to Operation Just Cause. Operation Just Cause. Hold on just a second. Thank you. Rob was telling me it was Friday night, which is January 2nd. All right. Thank you. Hey, if y'all want to comment on anything I got going on, please do so. Okay. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So it's compared to a little bit like Operation Just Cause, when Manuel Noriega had drug charges on him too, and we swept in, and then I think it was in 10 days took him into custody and sent him to the United States, and he served his time here. He went to France, was convicted, served some time there, and then he came back and died. All right, and we spent like 4.5 months total in Panama. My ex brother-in-law, he was with the 7th Infantry Division. He was part of the soldiers that went down there to combat the Panamanian Defense Forces. It's been 35 years to the day that Manuel Noriega actually, when Manuel Noriega actually, surrendered to U.S. forces at the Vatican Embassy, as when we went in and took Maduro into custody. All right. And then, just so you know, he crumbled like really fast. There was hardly any defense taken into keeping him safe. His bodyguards were Cuban military. So why would you use Cuban military as your bodyguards and not Venezuelan military? It does not make sense. 32 of those Cuban military lost their lives I guess they weren't as good as they thought they were, but they're gone. All right. So I'm going to read a couple articles. I got this one pager right here from New York Post. It says Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro and First Lady Celia Flores were slated to make their first appearance in U.S. federal court Monday, which was just now, and they were denied bail, and that their next court appearance is March 17th, right? And they're going to be held in prison in New York. The fallen leader, which he's not really a leader because he lost his last election 70% to 30%. And he's 66, his wife is 69, were charged with narco-terrorism conspiracy, cocaine importation conspiracy, possession of machine guns, destructive devices, and a conspiracy to possess machine guns and destructive devices against the United States in the Southern District of New York on Saturday. The couple was indicted after they were captured. The couple was indicted, after they were captured on the heavily fortified compound in Caracas by U.S. forces during a daring mission dubbed Operation Absolute Resolve after President Trump gave final directive for the U.S. to attack the South American nation early Saturday. Trump administration has repeatedly called Maduro's regime illegitimate and that he has remained in power due to a rigged elections, including in 2024. Venezuelan Executive Vice President Delcy Rodriguez is next in line for presidency, according to the Constitution. Maduro and Flores are in separate solitary cells inside Brooklyn's notorious Metropolitan Detention Center, where heavily armed law enforcement members are on patrol outside. The lockup has also housed Mexican drug pen El Chapo, the crazed music mogul Sean Diddy Combs, and the Luigi Mangoni guy. And then what I was going to tell you, they use Delta Force to go in and retrieve them. They had made an exact replica of the residence where they were going to, where they were residing at. So they knew exactly how to penetrate the residence and retrieve him with very little lethal force, even though 32 Cubans were killed. All right. And then Marco Rubio was on ABC yesterday and got an argument with George Stephanopoulos, or whatever you call him, the guy on Sesame Street. By the way, also, even though the vice president is in line to become president on the Venezuelan constitution, there's a stipulation inside the constitution when she ascends to be the president, acting president of Venezuela, she has to call for elections within 30 days of her ascension into that office. So she won't be there for very long. All right. The young lady, just Marturo, is that her name? Is the one that should be in office right now. Secretary of State Marco Rubio sparred with ABC's George Stefano on Sunday as the week most properly this week was most host repeatedly pressed Rubio over whether the U.S. was going to run Venezuela. After extracting the Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro on Saturday, it was Saturday morning, Friday night, okay? President Trump said during a press conference that the U.S. was now going to run the country until there can be a safe transition of power, which should not be very long. Stephanopoulos asked Rubio what authority the U.S. had to run Venezuela. he said, first of all, what's going to happen here is that we have a quarantine on their oil, Rubio said. That means their economy will not be able to move forward until conditions that are in the national interest of the United States and in the interest of the Venezuelan people are met. And that's what we intend to do. So the leverage remains. The leverage is ongoing, and we can expect that it's going to lead to results here. Rubio added that the goal was to ensure Venezuela would no longer be a narco-trafficking paradise that aids the U.S. adversaries and gives Venezuela a better future. And I agree with Secretary Rubio, because I am sick and tired of hearing over the last 4.5 years that approximately 400,000 Americans died of overdoses that came from drugs from Latin America. I'm absolutely tired of it. I mean, you can say last week, Tommy Lee Jones, his daughter died of a drug overdose. When will we come to our senses about the drug addiction in our country? It has to be dealt with. We've already sealed the border. We were sealing the high seas. It's like whack-a-mole. Got it. And all of a sudden, it pops up here. Got it. And it pops up again over here. Got it. And it just keeps going. You just got to keep at it to try to make a difference. I was listening to the news this morning, and they were saying that the amount of drug overdoses in the last 6 months has plummeted. And that is because the southern border is sealed, and they had to find a different route to bring these drugs into our country, in which we're sealing it off. The high seas and the land routes, all that's left is trying to fly it in, and we're going to see everything that tries to fly over the border. All right? But I'm tired of 400,000 Americans, some of which could have been very reputable politicians, business leaders, inventors, teachers, all dead because of illegal drugs coming into our country. So they went on, they kept arguing over and over again. Let's see. We are hopeful that there are people in place now. We're going to find out. The proof will be in what they do or fail to do. That will be the start of some of the changes that will ultimately lead to a Venezuela that looks substantially and dramatically different from what's been in place for 15 years. During the interview, Rubio also expressed doubts that Maduro's vice president, Delcy Rodriguez, was the current leader in the country, or whether she would remain in office. All right. Man, big stuff going on here. Let's see. Where are we at here? We're at 39 minutes. We'll hold off on this one just for a minute. All right. And to go on what we were saying with the what do you call it? The endorsement of the Democrat Socialist America, who was Mamdani's backers throughout his election in New York. Well, nope. The viewer on Rumble does not campaign minimum requirement. Yeah, because nothing is actually going on here. Hold on just a second here. Nope, it ain't letting me do it. Okay, so the DSA had put out a statement, right? It said the DSA stands in solidarity with Venezuela and voices our broad support for self-determination and socialism in the country. Free and continued U.S. imperialist aggression. At the 2019 convention, DSA passed a resolution to continue building ties with mass socialist parties in Latin America. And at the 2021 convention, similarly, another resolution to expand on this work and join the Sao Paulo Forum. Sao Paulo is in Brazil. As outlined in the DSA political platform, DSA affirms our commitment to work to normalize relations with Venezuela, defend the sovereign right of the Venezuelan people to determine their internal matters, and oppose any unilateral coercive measures or other forms of imperial aggression. Then they state solidarity to the people of Venezuela, solidarity to the Bolivarian Revolution. These people are in the United States of America with this vile, traitorous, seditious BS that they are spreading like a plague across our country, and to warp the minds of people that live here. And these people that helped elect a socialist, a communist, to the mayorship of New York City puts this junk out. And we let them do it. What are the people in New York are going to say about junk like this that's being publicized everywhere? Because with Mamdani, right? He appointed a lady to the, she's called the tenant at the Office to Protect Tenants. So she's made a statement that she wants to seize private property from New York City residents, right? And she blasted home ownership as white supremacy, right? So her name is Sia Weaver, and she's the new director, Office to Protect Tenants. A staunch, flaming communist is one of his directors in New York City. Oh yeah, and the promise to have free bus fare. Do you know this morning the price of bus fare in New York City went to $3 a trip? I'm not lying. That's exactly what was put out. There was a lady even made a TikTok or a YouTube video on it was put out this morning, and yeah, sure enough, they charge her $3 for a trip. We'll get back to this one in just a minute. Let's see. Governor Mike Walz. Mike Walz just announced that he's not running for re-election for a third term. It said Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota announced Monday that he's dropping his bid for a third term as governor amid stinging criticism. The unsuccessful 2024 Democrat presidential nominee handing his state massive welfare assistance and fraud scandal. He said, the political gamemanship we are seeing from Republicans is only making that fight harder to win. Who spent $1.7 billion on a failed presidential campaign? Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. They did, right? But as I reflected on this moment with my family and my team over the holidays, I came to the conclusion that I can't give a political campaign my all, the governor said. Every minute I spend defending my own political interests would be a minute I can't spend defending the people of Minnesota against criminals who prey on our generosity and from cynics who prey on our defenses. So I've decided to step out of the race and let others worry about the elections while I focus on the work. Oh, that's pretty cool. So what I heard just a few minutes ago before I came in here and sat down was a heavy favored person to run for governor is Amy Klobuchar, Senator Amy Klobuchar. So if she did that, that would open up another Senate seat for Republicans to run for. All right. But if she got elected as governor and she steps down as senator, she would appoint her own replacement. And you know she's going to appoint a Democrat. But 2 years later, that person's got to run for election. All right? So some notes I have on Tim Walz is he's not going to run for re-election. He had a news conference at 11 o'clock. Let's see, on a statement, he said he won't be seeking re-election. He blamed it all on President Trump for his handling of fraud in the state, and for Republicans that are, he accused Republicans have accused Walz of being slow to respond to the fraud, which is exactly right. He was saying he was blaming the Republican people that are activists. Well, the only activist we know that was really doing anything in Minnesota was Nick Shirley, and he's only 23 years old, so he's only been doing this a couple of years, and he picked the right story in the right location, and he exploited it, which needed to be done because not enough journalists were actually out there doing their job to support the people around them. And it took a young man to make a difference, right? J.D. Vance's home in Cincinnati, Ohio this morning got shot up. They weren't there, thank goodness, right? It says a man is in custody after damaging property at Vice President J.D. Vance's home in Cincinnati on Monday morning, the Secret Service said. Secret Service agents physically detained the adult male shortly after midnight, the agency told Fox News in a statement. The individual whose identity, I'm sure we're going to find out his identity sometime today, was not immediately provided, allegedly caused property damage, including breaking windows on the exterior of the personal residence. After being detained, the man was taken in custody by Cincinnati Police Department. The residence was unoccupied at the time, and the vice president's family were not in Ohio. The spokesman for Vance also confirmed to Fox News that the vice president and his family were already back in Washington. And Vance had been in Cincinnati as recently as this past weekend. And so what I was told was that just before midnight, someone shot up the front of their residence and broke some windows. Okay? And he didn't take like stones and baseball bats and stuff. He actually shot into it. Alrighty. I'm scanning through here. Where am I at? I'm at 49 minutes. Good news for Republicans. Elon Musk is hinting at funding Republicans in the 2026 midterm elections. Man, I'm getting all stopped up. Let's see. Billionaire Elon Musk has indicated his plans to fund Republican candidates ahead of the 2026 U.S. midterm elections, warning that the country would be toast if Democrats gained control of Congress. America is toast if the radical left wins, Musk wrote on X on January 1st. There will be floodgates. They will open the floodgates to legal immigration and fraud. America won't be America anymore. And so he just had a dinner with President Trump and Mrs. Trump. And hopefully they flood hundreds of millions of dollars into the congressional campaigns to help Republicans get reelected and to get elected in office. Right now, we should be actually we should be actually ahead of the pace in Texas, since we have up to 5 new congressional districts that are portioned to be favorable to Republicans. The deal in California is still under litigation, so those maps may revert back to what it was, so they'll give a good heavy advantage to Republicans. So we'll see. But the fact is that Elon Musk is going to help fund Republicans through this campaign, which would be good because, a lot of this fraud and stuff you see coming through, like through Minnesota and California, New York, and places like that, with these phantom places where people are receiving grants and stuff. They just funnel that money back into Democrat campaigns. And that's what we have to defeat. So you get all this unlimited money coming in Democrat campaigns, and we have to beg, borrow, and not steal on the Republican side, and to raise money to try to get elected into office. Matter of fact, that reminds me, if you're in Texas, the reporting period for semi-annual campaign finance reports have ended, and you have till like the 13th or the 12th or 13th of January to turn in your semi-annual report, right? Just remember, that's your warning, okay? Because I got to turn in one too, because I have $143.10 in my campaign account that I have not spent. So next one is Dan Bongino. I saw, where did I see that? I saw it on the Graham Allen show this morning. And on the Graham Allen show, they had, what do you call it? An AI video that someone had made of Dan Bongino. And yes, I'm wearing his shirt because I'm a P1 listener for Dan Bongino when he was on the air. Was that it had him in a club, and he was dancing around because he's free, because he's no longer in the FBI. So he, I'm going to read this one article. I know we're at 54 minutes right now. Dan Bongino returned to private life on Sunday after serving as deputy director for the Federal Bureau of Investigation for less than a year, from March to December. Bongino said on X said that Saturday was his last day on the job before he returned to civilian life. It's been an incredible year. Thanks to the leadership and decisiveness of President Trump, it was an honor of a lifetime to work for Director Patel and to serve you, the American people. See you on the other side, he wrote. The former FBI deputy director announced in mid-December he would be leaving his role at the Bureau and start at the start of the new year. And then President Trump previously praised Bongino, who assumed office in March for his work at the FBI. Dan did a great job. I think he wants to go back to his show, Trump told reporters, which is what I believe too. I was listening to Vince earlier this morning, and Vince was on the podcast says he does not know what Dan Bongino is proving to do, is thinking about doing. He has no clue. And I'm sure he will find out pretty quickly of what he wants to do. So, is Vince going to stay at the 9 o'clock Central Time Zone? Or is he going to move to 10 o'clock Central and Dan Bongino run in at 9? Or is Vince going to keep the podcast at 9 and Bongino going to start a brand new podcast at 10? We don't know yet, right? Or is he going to go later in the day? Is he going to adopt the Silverlock name into his podcast and share the audience with Vince? We don't know that. Or is he going to start over with a brand new username and have under Silverlock have Vince, have Haley, and then have Dan Bongino also, right? I know right now I'm planning to stay for the most part at the 12 Central Time Zone. I don't want to move it back earlier. It all depends where Dan Bongino sits down at. I fully support him, so whatever he does, I will maneuver my show around his, because I will not compete with him because I'm one of his biggest fans, right? You could take that the wrong way, but, I'm one of his biggest. I'm a P1 listener of the Dan Bongino show. I listen to it habitually for years, okay, every single day. I remember when he taped it. And then when he went live, I remember all that. I remember his specials. He would break in and do it like that too. It's I can't wait for him to come back, but I will modify my schedule to his schedule when the time comes. So I won't worry about that too much, because I've learned so much about how to do this through watching him and some other people. All right, like Chad Prather and Graham Allen and Vince Connolly's and Haley. Oh man, I forgot how to pronounce her name. Hold on just a second. Okay, so Dan Bongino coming back. Can't wait. Anyone on here that can't wait for him to come in? Send me something. I can't do no ad reads because my video didn't come on my stream. I don't know what happened. Okay, but at least I'm live the rest of the way. All right, so where are we at? We're at almost a 1 hour mark, and I still have. I might have to carry this up till tomorrow. The Bolivarian Revolution. These people should be arrested for sedition. That's crazy. All right, so I didn't read that one, so I might read that one tomorrow. This is good. Okay, so if you're trying to find me on my socials, I'm located at James Pierce Jr. and James A. Pierce Jr. on Facebook, YouTube at the JP8 Report 67, and I'm on Truth, and there's my email, okay? All right, so I am about to go into premium if it'll allow me to. I don't know. I will attempt, all right? I will see in just a second, because it's not showing any type of viewer count. That's crazy. All right. Well, I know I've got viewers and stuff. All right. So I will be on the air at 1 o'clock Central tomorrow. I have a VA appointment about 12:20, so I'm going to delay my show time by 1 hour. So I'll be back on at 1, But I'm about to do some premium just for a little while. All right. I need a cough drop. So I'm going to do my regular log off, and then I'm going to sign on to Rumble Premium, if it'll let me. If not, I'll just start back up tomorrow. All right? Let me get this in place. Let's see what happens. All right? So this is James Pierce with the JP8 report. I will catch you on the flip side. I'm out and going to premium. All right. So give me a second here. Let's stop that. I'm going to see if it allows me. Let's see.